Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and here in 2023 I want to talk about what I think is the ultimate GameCube controller. And it's pretty simple. It's just the first party Nintendo, the Wavebird. I think just to begin with, the original GameCube controller, which really isn't much different than this, minus just being wired, it actually is deceptively comfortable. This control stick button, it's really close to where it should be. It's like your thumbs seem to fall in comfortable positions. Even though this is a tiny little nub, it still rolls pretty smoothly. This actually has a good bit of tension in it, probably more so than even some modern controllers. The Y and the X buttons here aren't the easiest to get to, but they're usually not used as much as A or B for quick stuff. And then you kind of have like your early version of a bumper trigger up here, or these are really the triggers, which actually kind of are designed like a modern trigger in a controller. A little flimsy sounding, but they're actually really comfortable with that nice concave design. But that kind of applies just to regular controller too. So I had the original controller, and I really think I had enough cable too. I had no issues with the original controller. It works fine. It's still like new, pretty much like how this is like new. And I'm happy with it, but I was looking around and I was like, well, I like what I have, but it would be nice to have wireless. And there's really not too many options. I think these days there are replica Wavebird controllers. They're not licensed, so I'm not sure what the quality is. They do come with the receiver just like this. They look to be very similar, but I don't own one to know if they're flimsy or if they're almost identical. They're a lot cheaper. And I think that's the most important thing with this is the price. Now this one's the gray one, which I kind of wanted the platinum one, but after running it, this gray actually looks pretty good. And fortunately for me, none of this really yellowed any. So, but when it comes to price, a lot of it comes down to whether it has the receiver or not. And over the years, the prices of these have gone up a lot. I think, a handful of years back, they might have been around $30 to $50. Now they're closer to 60 to 100, sometimes more or less. It usually depends on the condition and if it comes with the receiver. And it seems like to me, any controller that needs a receiver, which is pretty much just your older generation controllers, the receiver ends up being worth more than the controller because for some reason people just lost them. How that happens, I don't know. But it was it's basic. You do have a little LED indicator light. And then one of the neat things is you have 16 channels. So I guess if you had multiple people using these in the same environment, you have up to 16 different frequencies to keep things from getting jammed. And then you have obviously the corresponding channels selectable down here. So you need both of these to be able to use this. So a lot of times you'll see the controller go for a low price, but it doesn't include this. Since I've seen a lot of these receivers can go for upwards of $60, sometimes even higher. I lucked out about a year ago or so. I found the controller and the receiver together for I think it was under $60. So that was a really good deal, especially when you consider the condition. And mine didn't have leaked batteries or anything. And if you would want to get in here, I think you need that Nintendo Game Bit, that specific one, if you would need to clean in here. But it's pretty impressive. And then you get your indicator light too. It's just a good strong switch. Now I haven't used it too much to get a good grasp on what the battery life is, but it's not that bad. It's for, double A's. If you can get cheap double A's like I did, you can get a big pack. You don't even have to think about it. Or if you want to go rechargeable double A's, that's an option as well. And I know in years past I wasn't real big on the idea of paying this much for an old controller, but especially with Nintendo, as time goes on, the prices seem to only go up. And then since it's two pieces, they're getting harder to find and everything. So, especially since I got mine at a deal, I'm very happy with paying $60. But when you consider the price of modern controllers and how good this one was for its time and nothing like that, I mean, the DualSense and the Xbox controllers at this point feel very similar, minus the thumbstick placement. So to me, it's just a unique controller, and it was worth that money. And I don't think I'd pay more than $100 unless you want like a sealed, never opened one or something. You can see here the specs on it. But I can't complain. You do pay a little bit more, but kind of getting back into GameCube, and as much as, a new console costs, you put a few $100s into an old system and try and spec it out and make it as nice as you can with all the add-ons. It is a pretty complementary feel to something new where you still get wireless range and stuff like that. And if you can get it, on an HD TV looking good, it's still pretty enjoyable, and it's the best way to experience those old games, because that's one thing, no matter what, a lot of those old games are better than what we have now, at least in my opinion. So with all that being said, this is holding up well. I don't think I'm going to put too much use on it, but I'm glad to have it. Glad to have a wireless option now, and I still have my corded original GameCube controller if I would want to use it too. But this is how I play my GameCube now, and I would really recommend it, especially if you can get a deal on it, or you don't mind putting a little bit of money into an old console. It's really the way to go. It's the best controller out there for the GameCube. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.